Hey everyone, it's Peggy. Welcome here to our webinar. Just want to check in. I'm going to check in and see if everyone can hear me okay. How's the sound? We've got the chat box open. I actually have my other computer open right here beside me so that I can check the chat roll, and I can take any questions. So what I'd love to know is, how does it sound? Does it sound good? I'm going to go to my presentation in a second, but I just want to check in with you. Oh, great sound, says Bianca. We've got people here from all over the world. Bianca's from Cape Town in South Africa. We've got Susan here from Berlin, and we have, let's see, we've got folks from, oh my goodness, like everywhere. The Chile, guest number 4914. I'm not sure who guest number 4914 is, but welcome. We're happy to have you here. And let's see, we've got Danielle on from Portugal, and Pashmina's here as well. Wow, from the other side of the world. We're so happy to have you here. It looks like it's probably middle of the night for you, or early morning. Early morning, I would think. Right, Pashmina? All right, guys. Well, I'm happy to hear that you're here, that you can hear, and that you're here. So let's get right into my presentation so that you can follow along. I do have a lot that I'm going to cover with you today. And I'm going to go through everything. And then to really serve you, I'm going to take some questions. There's already been some questions that have been asked. I'll take a few questions at the end of our time together today and address them. And there's some good questions that have really come in. So thank you. Pashmina's asked a question, Danielle, Bianca, and Jane. So please, everyone stay online, because these questions are phenomenal, and I'm absolutely going to cover off what you are hungry for, but you're really looking for. So we're talking about your book as a business, money earning opportunities, having a breakthrough. So whether you are looking to make a difference or make a fortune or both, I want to walk you through some different examples of what I've done and what other people have done that really, really have significantly made a big impact in their career. People that have generated, or come up with one idea and generated $113,000, or people that have generated $100 million. And when we're talking about this money earning opportunity, what I really, really want to invite you to do is be open to these ideas. Like paradigms, which is a set of belief system that controls all our thoughts, our words, our behaviors, are really also controlling what you're earning. And the reason why people aren't earning what they really desire is because of a belief system of some sort. And it could be a belief system that you have to sacrifice something that's important to you, or it could be a belief system that you're not worthy of it. It could be a belief system that you don't have something that's valuable. And whatever that is, I want you to also be open to that. When I'm working with my clients, I not only teach them the practical side of money earning and creating a revenue profitable business, but also the psychological side of it as well, because I've been in the study of personal and professional development for 40 years now. So what we're going to do in our time together is I'm going to inspire you with some ideas, and I've actually set some objectives. And what I want to do is encourage you to do something, right? To take some action. So to encourage movement, that's what I call it, movement forward, where there may have been some hesitation before, because they say he who hesitates is lost. But I also, also think of that expression, you snooze, you lose. And there's so much opportunity out there today. You and I, we're connected right here online. You're in your part of the world. I'm here in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And I started marketing on the internet in the early days of marketing on the internet with my very, very first book. I started selling thousands and thousands of copies of my book. And then I started creating programs, and that's where things really took off. So I want to show you what's possible. Also, I have an invitation for you. I created a new program. It's called The Prosperous Author. We're going to be talking about that. It includes a 2-day live event, and it's all designed with the newest, latest, greatest, coolest ways of earning money. And I'm always updating my stuff. I know we've got some folks that have been in my programs before, but I'm always enhancing, always updating. So I want to show you that it's getting easier, not harder, easier to make money online, and how anyone can do it, no matter where you are, what your experience is, and to inspire you to actually do something today where your future self is going to say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I got to tell you something. I look myself in the mirror every day, and I do my affirmations and I do my mirror work. And one of the things that I'm grateful for is that I did take action, and that I do take action. I would say that that's one of the single most, let's say, contributory things that has allowed me to live and allows me to live the lifestyle that I'm now blessed to live. I want to first share with you Glenn Shepard. He's a client of mine who took my How to Make Your Book a Bestseller program a few years ago. Wonderful guy, loved working with him. He lives in Tennessee with his lovely wife. And he wrote a book called How to Be the Employee Your Company Can't Live Without. I love the title. I think it's kind of a cool title. And he made his book a #1 bestseller. And what happened was, now this is, I want you to get this, okay? This is part of the impact. And whether you've done this or you haven't done this, this is an opportunity anybody can do. And he was charging somewhere around $500 to $1,000 an hour for consulting. And he got so many requests after he made his book a bestseller that he raised his hourly rate to $2,500. So think about that, $500 to $2,500. Consultants who have specialized knowledge, consultants or coaches who are perceived as being an expert can and do charge more money. I want you to think about that. You may not have been doing that or even thinking about that, but that's another opportunity to earn more money. And it's not a ripoff thing. It's really a value thing. People believe that's what they're worth. Now, the first company to say yes to that price told his assistant that it was because they wanted to publicize that the speaker has to be a #1 bestseller. But the real money, he said, came from raising his fees for his keynote speeches, which doubled from $5,000 to $10,000. Just think about that. You learn what I'm teaching in The Prosperous Author. Just think about what it would be worth if you only had one speaking engagement and you doubled your fee. The most bizarre part is that he's booked more speeches at $10,000 3 years since he hit #1 on Barnes & Noble than he booked at half the price the preceding 10 years. Now his book's in 5 languages. He continues to grow. He's offered a reality TV show. I mean, it just gets better and better all the time. All right. So he says that he sends people my way, and I'm grateful for that. Now I've got story after story after story, my own stories of authors that I've worked with, that I've coached, that have gone through my programs, that have created success. Endless amounts. You know, last night as I was just putting the final touches on our presentation for our time together today, I went into this folder that I have on my computer called my feel good file. And I had so many. I mean, I really, really had a challenge which ones I'm going to include and which ones I'm not. And just yesterday, I got an email from another client of mine who told me that. Now, he took my program, went through my program, and he released his book. It was about a year ago now. And he was telling me that he just sold over 50,000 copies. And a couple months ago, I got an email from my literary agent who was telling me that a client of mine who went through my program, made her book a bestseller, has now sold 5 million copies of her books. All right, 5 million copies of her books. So what I'm committed to you is just what we're doing right here, right now. Like, is this exciting, you guys? Like, I'm seeing, so how's, you guys said that, I don't hear anything, says guest. All right, so you guys can hear me, okay? So Bianca can hear, and like sometimes if you can't hear, just log out and log back in if you can't hear, So I want to know, for those of you that are listening right now, is this exciting you, or is this already exciting? I mean, my goal today, I was like a kid, you know, at Christmas time, just can't wait to open up the gifts. But for me, I was like the kid at Christmas time who couldn't wait to give the gifts. So try to sign on Facebook with Twitter. I can hear very clearly. Thanks, Susan. I really appreciate it. Okay, great. All right, super. So you guys are all on board. You're hearing just fine. That's all good. Now, as you guys know, I'm not going to go into my own story of my book writing, because this particular webinar I've designed to talk to you about the money earning part of it. And you know, there were a couple webinars that I did today, and we had thousands of people that were signing up, and not everybody can get on the live. Sometimes they watch the recording, but proportionately to the ones that we're just talking about getting your book done or writing your book, to the money earning part of it, there's a lot more interest in writing the book, of course. And maybe, you know, there's a lot of people who haven't written their book yet. But I find that Wayne Dyer, who said it's not crowded along the extra mile, was absolutely right on. He was so accurate with that statement. And you being an author, I want you to know it's not crowded along the extra mile. When you're in the space of doing the marketing, and when you're in the space of creating other offers, programs, and services that are valuable to others. When you do that, you follow through, you learn the proven formulas for the systems for bringing out new products and new programs, and you follow it, you do it. I mean, there's work involved, of course. You're the ones that are going to reap the rewards. You're going to get into the habit of making money. Barb Proctor, who's a mentor and a friend of mine, we were doing a course together called Multiple Sources of Internet Income or Online Income. And during this program, Bob would teach a class and then I would teach a class. Bob would teach a class and I would teach a class. And I was listening to one of Bob's classes one day, and Bob said the following. He said, people that make money, like consistently make money, are in the habit of making money. So even if they get to a point where they're having a dry spell, they'll find a way to ramp things up again and they'll start making money. And you want to be that. That's the person that you want to become, the person that's in the habit of making money. Like my ex-husband used to call me the money-making machine. Now, there were other things my ex-husband called me that weren't as attractive. But anyways, that's the point, right? You want to get in the habit of making money. And you can do that when you're online. And sure, you can make money from having your book translated into other languages and sold all over the world. And there's that. But that's a bit of a slower route, right? So I want to talk about where the real money is. I want to talk about what's possible and where the real money is. Okay, so really listen up. Thanks, Sanjeev. I see that you're on here. That's great. Okay, so first thing to really get this and understand this is when you bring something of value to the world and you do it in a way that is unique and that you are really giving tremendous value. You're thinking about the prospects. You're thinking about what their problems are. You're helping them solve it. You're doing it in a way that's really well done. You will be compensated if and when your marketing is set up properly. All right. And that's where real money is. So where the real money is online today, which is $1 trillion revenue producing business, is in what's called information. Information. So what is information? Well, your books are information. Programs are information. I'll talk to you in a minute about the Prosperous Author Program. That is information, all delivered online, except for the 2-day event that we're going to be doing in Sarasota, Florida. And courses, any kinds of courses, electronic courses that are available online, or programs where people download videos or they watch videos online, or they download audios, MP3s, or workbooks or guidebooks or anything like that. That's all considered information. All right. Coaching, group coaching, that's all considered information. And it's all part of this $1 trillion marketplace. And who can tap into that? Who can tap into that? Everybody can tap into that. So get excited about that, because that's exactly where you are. Now, Dean Graziosi is a client of mine. And I met Dean when he wrote a book called Totally Fulfilled. And Dean's a young guy. Well, he's in his early 50s. That's young, younger than me. At least I think he's in his early 50s. Maybe. No, he's not yet. He's not in his 50s yet. He's late 40s. And when I had met Dean, he wrote a book called Totally Fulfilled. Now, Dean, I met him, he was late 30s. He had already earned $100 million by marketing a program. You may recognize his name. And Dean was actually, he was offering a real estate investment program online. And, you know, I met him, he had earned $100 million. But yet, I had given him ideas of other things that he could do to build his brand and expand his business online. And he was blown away. So we worked together because I helped him with his book and with the launch of his book. And he's now a New York Times bestselling author as well. But what I did was I helped him design a new online program that's now generating more online business than he ever imagined was possible. And he said about me, I'm a nonstop idea creating, revenue generating machine. I highly recommend her. She's worth 100 times what she charges. No, make that 1,000 times and more. In a world full of good talkers, it's nice to do business with a real doer. And I appreciate Dean saying that. Dean's a doer as well. You know, doers usually recognize other doers, and anyone can become a doer just by simply finding out what's required, what you need to do, and then taking action, right? So here's a guy, you know, I have another client that I work with, Dr. Stacia Pierce. And Dr. Stacia Pierce actually had her assistant call me because she wanted to work with me in my private mentoring. And I remember when I got the message for Dr. Stacia Pierce from her assistant, I went online to just do a Google search to see who she was. And when I saw who she was and what she had already accomplished with her life and her business, I mean, she was a very successful girl. She is a very successful girl. And she was the author of 21 books. I remember thinking, what does she need me for? And that kind of ideas come to me many times with many people like Marianne Williamson when she called me, and Wayne Dyer and Neil Donald Walsh. But I realized that not everybody really gets this side of the opportunity that's available online. And they may be passionate about their work or passionate about their message, but what they don't really understand or maybe don't get is the money earning side of it. So I worked with Dr. Stacia and helped her double her business in a matter of 3 months. Now here's a lady who wrote a book. Now let's just talk about this. What Carol Abramson did was she designed her book in a way as a lead generator. It was a lead generator for her to generate and get some consulting clients. So as you see this book title, not 3, but 21, that's a title, kind of an interesting title. The investor relations audiences every CEO and CFO who's serious about attracting Wall Street interest must understand. So that's not a book that I would pick up and read. It might not be a book that you would pick up and read. However, there are certain people, CEOs, CFOs, who are interested in attracting Wall Street interest must understand. So she printed the book, she created the book, designed in a way to bring great value, let people know that she's a consultant, that she has that available. She gave away 250 copies, 100 clients hired her, and it generated $2 million in consulting fees. So here's an example, like a lot of people that bring the books out and they want to just get the book out there in the world and they just want to sell their books. There's other opportunities. You can look at your book as a lead generator as well. Bob Proctor says often, especially when he's introducing me, he talks about his book called You Were Born Rich, and that he's used his book as a lead generator in his business for years, where he's given it away. And that book has generated millions of dollars in revenue for his business, just from having a book that's used as a lead generator. Let's talk about the launch that Anik Singhal did on the Circle of Profit. Again, a model that anyone can follow when they know and understand what's required in order to follow this. So Anik Singhal had wanted to write a book and he just, wasn't getting around to it. He's a busy guy, so I understand why he hadn't written his book. So finally, I started giving him some guidance and working with him. That's a text that he sent me on the right-hand side, by the way, and got him to complete his book called The Circle of Profit. But The Circle of Profit, it has a lot of good information in it, but it also leads people to a free webinar. And the free webinar workshop online training does, again, give out some good information, but it also inspires people to take it further. Because as you know, and I'm sure you know, that you can't get everything in a matter of like a 1-hour information session or by reading a book. Quite often people want the hand-holding, they want the step-by-step, guide, they want the system, they want to see behind the scenes, they want to know everything. Open your kimono and give them everything that you've got. So what Anik did was he gave away the ebook for 3 days for free, which anyone can do on Amazon. And then he started selling the ebook and the physical book. He ended up selling, I think, somewhere around 30,000 copies. And then out of all these people that got access to his book, many, many, many people, tens of thousands of people went over and registered for his free webinar. His free webinar was set up as a sales funnel. And at the end of the sales funnel, people were encouraged to join his program. And within a matter of 2 weeks from when he released his book, he generated just over $11 million. And you know what's exciting about that? Number one, he's bringing great stuff to the world, a very successful launch of a book. Obviously, he generated 8 figures in revenue, but it's something he could repeat. And he did repeat it. He launched that book again and again and again. And I want you to really get excited about this as you're hearing these different examples and you're hearing me share what others have done. Really get this. Anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. So if you're watching this, I see we've got Carolyn on the line as well. Anyone who's watching this, Dana, you just know if Anik can do it or Peggy can do it or Dean can do it, so can you. But you've got to come from that place of really understanding what it is that you are passionate about, what's the problem that you're solving, create something that's going to solve it better than anyone else. And as Bob Proctor talks about the law of compensation, the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. That's important. So here's Nancy Tillman. I mentioned her. This is an author of mine who took my program, made her book a bestseller, and then sold 5 million copies of her book. 5 million. Now, what occurs that a book sells that many copies? Well, it's a thing called word of mouth, right? Word of mouth. What is that? Somebody telling somebody else, somebody buying the book, they love the book, and then they tell somebody else, and then somebody else buys the book. But what Nancy did, and what she did really well, was she promoted her book and got her book out there into the hands of tens of thousands of dollars. And then it reached what's called a tipping point. The tipping point where it's like it goes over the hill and now everybody's telling everybody about it. It becomes a bestseller. People are seeing it on the bestseller charts, and it's an easy decision. And how many times have you gone to buy something on Amazon.com and you end up over there and you're looking at what the bestsellers are? Or if you've been in the airport and you're flying somewhere and you go into the airport bookstore, and what do they have in the airport bookstores? Well, they have the bestsellers, right? They've got a whole wall full of bestsellers, the ones that are right now hot on the top of the charts. So you're not necessarily bringing any of those buyers into the bookstores. You're not bringing any of those people into Amazon, but because you've created a bestseller, your book gets more visibility. And that's the kind of thing happens where you have this exponential effect where people are seeing your book everywhere, and it can certainly happen. Mick Peterson, you've probably heard me talk about him many, many times, but here's an opportunity here where a young guy wrote a book, fiction. He dreamt the whole story one evening, got up and started writing it down, self-published his fiction book, brought it out to the world, made it a bestseller. It ended up at Phil Goldfine, who's an Academy Award-winning producer out of Hollywood, ended up in his office. One of his readers read it. And next thing you know, Mick's in Phil's office, and they've got a contract where they're going to make a movie. And Mick actually has an idea for 3 books. He calls it a trilogy. He actually just secured a publishing deal with the same publisher as The Secret, as the book The Secret. And he's doing a rewrite on the book, and they're going to be releasing the first book from the trilogy next year. And Phil is shopping the movie rights, and they're looking at making this franchise. They're calling it a franchise for Timekeepers to be bigger than Harry Potter. And Mick's goal, and this isn't a secret, I'm not telling anything at a school, Mick's goal is to be a billionaire author. And if you know anything about that, if you study authors, I certainly do, J.K. Rowling was the first billionaire author, and Mick's looking to be the next billionaire author. And of course, being bigger than Harry Potter as a franchise, I'm certain he's going to accomplish that. Elle Newmark wrote another fiction book, and she sold the rights to that for $2.4 million. But that's not standard. I mean, there's not 7-figure book deals happening all the time. It's possible, but it's rare. It is absolutely a rare event. But here's what I really find to be quite exciting about what Elle Newmark did. She moved her butt. She learned formulas for marketing her book because she wanted visibility. She wanted visibility for her book for 2 reasons. And this is what every author wants, I would think. Visibility for your book, number 1 reason is to get book sales, right? To get your book into the hands of those that are going to benefit from it the most. The second reason for Elle, why she really invested in understanding marketing and took my program and launched her book, was also because she wanted a publishing deal. She was focused on getting a publishing deal. That was a goal that she had set for herself. So she used her book launch as something that would get the attention of publishers, but she brought her book's attention to them by letting them know, hey, I'm doing a launch tomorrow. My book's going up the charts. I would love to talk to you about doing a publishing deal. And that's what she did. All right. Sanjeev says he's coming next. Outstanding. I love your enthusiasm, Sanjeev. I love it. I love it. That's great. So I totally see you doing that. Deborah Skye King. Deborah Skye King is another lovely author, lovely woman that I was blessed to work with. And she came up to me and she said she wanted to generate some new revenue. Now, when you got to understand, this is not only about the money. Now, you get compensated when you bring something of value to the marketplace. You've got to be thinking about your prospects. You've got to be thinking about what people are hungry for. When I started marketing online, I learned how to effectively market online from the comfort of my home, because I knew that the book that I wrote was not doing anyone any good sitting in my living room or sitting in boxes in my hallway. So I was really inspired to make some drastic, rapid change. And so I found a mentor who could show me how to market online, and then I brought my books. But what happened was people started emailing and saying, what else do you have? What else do you have? What else do you have? Meaning, do you have a program? Do you do private mentoring? Are you coming to my city doing a speaking engagement? And I will say that when that first started to happen, I was pleasantly surprised, but I acted on it and created programs. And that's really where things shifted for me and my business and the revenues. Same thing with Deborah Sky. When Deborah Sky King came to me and she wanted to generate some new revenue, I gave her one idea that she launched a couple weeks later. And she sent me this note saying she generated $113,927.92 in new revenue. She said it changed her life forever, both financially and professionally. And just think about that experience, right? Like, you think about that experience, it stretches you. It stretches you. It stretches you to a new way of thinking. It stretches you to a new dimension. And of course, you don't want to go back to the old way of not earning any money. And so this is what happens when you get into this new space. And speaking about getting into that new space, another great example, and I suspect this story would inspire you, is the lovely Marie Forleo. And many of you are familiar with Marie Forleo. She's built quite a reputation. She's been on Oprah on the Sunday, what's it called? Sunday something. Anyway, she's been on Oprah's show on Sunday. And I worked with Marie when she wrote her book called Make Every Man Want You. And Marie wanted to write a book for women to help them understand how to attract a man into their life. And that was the reason why she wrote her first book. And then she told me that she really wanted to coach women. That was something that she would love to do. But she felt a little shy because she was young. And even though she had a lot of knowledge and a lot of energy and wisdom, she felt a little uncomfortable with calling herself a coach. And she found it even more uncomfortable when she started coaching women that were what she called her mother's age. And that can happen. That can happen. But she persisted anyways because she wanted to follow her passion and do work that was really meaningful for her. And now she runs this fabulous multi-million-dollar revenue producing business. She's got Marie TV, if you've ever seen that. She's doing these little videos all the time. And that started with a book. But the book that led her into this multi-million-dollar revenue producing world-renowned name that she's built, and I'm certain enjoying it as well. Jennifer McLean, a lovely woman that I also worked with, and she wrote a book called The Big Book of You. She's done other books in addition to that. She's just a beautiful soul, Jennifer. And she wrote a book, and then she realized, I'm not really into the whole just call myself a bestseller thing. She was more interested in healing. That was important to her. And she got an idea to bring something called this Healing Summit. Healing with the Masters is what it was called. And she brought together experts, people that were known in the industry, and she interviewed them. And she invited people to subscribe to listen to the interviews. And then she sold the recordings. And one idea, this is what's powerful, one idea generated more than $1 million in revenue. So she now runs a 7-figure revenue producing business. She's a great girl, heart-centered, and brought something that she felt would really help people. Found a unique way of doing it. There's so many different models for success. These are just some of those models. Now, this is a quote that I heard recently that I really love, and I think it's true. Money and excuses. People are good at two things, making money or making excuses. And they are mutually exclusive. You can't be good at both, so pick one. Quite often when I'm chatting with somebody about this situation with money, and they'll explain why they're not earning money or why things have happened, and they'll start to basically give their reasons, right? But that's just excuses. That all is. Now, I'm not being judgmental. I'm just saying that's what it is. Now, I suspect you guys that are on the call with me right here, right now, you're more interested in the money earning or the money making side of it rather than the excuse side of it. Is that accurate? Are you into money earning, money making? Now, I'm saying money earning, money making, same idea, same thing. The reason why I'm switching over to money earning is because, as Bob says, people that make money, they're usually at the mint. People that earn money are people that are bringing something of value to the marketplace. See, what I love helping authors do is to find ways to create multiple sources of income, or a source of income that's profitable revenue for you and your business, by bringing something of value to the marketplace in a unique way that no one else has done. And a big part of that is also involved with your mindset. Sanjeev says life making. Okay, cool. Well, that can come with the money making side of it as well. Okay, so if you just think, I love how Bob says that. Earl Nightingale says, if most people said what they were thinking, they would be speechless. And if we just think about what revenue goals or earning goals that you have for yourself, and money really is designed to make you comfortable. And the more comfortable you are, the more creative you can be. So money is a very good thing. It's a very powerful thing. And it is energy. It's simply energy. So if you think about, just think for a moment that you're this successful author, and you're earning the kind of money that you would love. And you've got to be clear. See, the universe loves two things. The universe loves it when you're specific, when you declare exactly what it is that you would love to be earning. So you get specific, and the universe loves speed. That's action, the action part of it. Now, I suggest when I'm working with my authors that they set 3 financial goals. 3 financial goals, 3 money earning goals. This is something, if you haven't done this, do it, okay? So the first money earning goal would be, how much revenue would you love to generate for your business? Now, whether you have a business or not, whether you're going to incorporate a business later, that's fine. Maybe it's just you right now and you don't even have a team set up. But regardless of that, how much money would you love to be earning? You don't have to tell me. That's something that's very private. But think about that. Do you all know? Have you all decided how much money you would love to earn? Just type in yes, 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 yes in the chat screen if you already have decided how much revenue you would love to be earning. Okay, so I'm very clear on the revenue for my business, and it's a growth number. It's a stretch number, and that number should excite you and scare you at the same time. All right, it should excite you and scare you at the same time. So thank you, Annie. Jambi says yes. Annie says yes. Not sure about the rest of you, but all right, that's great. And maybe you haven't really, Susan says yes. Maybe you haven't really thought about it. And if you haven't, that's okay. Think about it now and set a number for how much revenue you would like to be earning. Guest 5331 says yes. All right, great. The next money goal, thank you, Carolyn, I appreciate you. The next money goal would be your profitability. What profitability margin would you love to have in your business? So that assumes that you're running a business that has profit, because every business has expenses. Every business, it doesn't matter whose business it is or what business you're in, you will have expenses. Everybody has it. If you don't, I'd be stunned. If you don't, I'm certain you're not getting any results. So the profit is the amount that's left over after you have covered all your expenses. So let's use an example. If $10 million is the revenue for your business, that's your goal, and you'd like to have a profit margin of 40%, then obviously you're going to have profit of $4 million. And then the third revenue goal, okay, great, at least a minimum 1 million. Okay, cool, Sanjeev, thank you. And Dana says yes as well. Okay, so the third money goal would be your income, your personal income. See, sometimes when I meet people and we start working together, like I say, I've got a client who flew in here today from New York, and we're going to be spending the day together doing her planning session. And this is a starting point. This is where you start, right? I'm giving you some stuff that I do in my full day event. That's a $12,000 day. So we're spending the day together, and I always start with, how much would you love to creating revenue, and then how much you love to earn. Now, sometimes people get confused by that and they tilt their head like a dog who's kind of wondering, what are you saying? I don't understand. What's the difference? Well, you can't be earning, if your business is earning $1 million and you would like to earn $1 million, that's zero profit, right? That means you don't have any expenses. You will have expenses. You will have expenses. And so you've got to look at the business from a perspective of, if you're earning a revenue goal, you've set a revenue goal, your income goal is very likely going to be less than that, unless you're getting revenue from other sources like real estate investments, or from interest, or from some other way, if it's not going through your business. So your income, but usually entrepreneurs and authors are earning money from their business. So this is a great idea. This is a great thing for you to do, is really sit down and think about what are your revenue goals. And it's not only a great starting point, but what that does when you set that objective, it's like a seed just got planted. And the seed will draw to it everything that's requisite for the fulfillment of the growth of that seed when you nurture it. So what do I mean by nurture it? That's where you give it attention, where you give it love, where you connect with it every single day, where you're acting as if you're already there. In other words, you're in the space of, or the spirit of, being in vibration with the goal that you have set for yourself. And then, bam, ideas are going to come to you. Then I remember many, many years ago, Bob Proctor and I were doing a program called Wealth Immersion. And it was a total wealth immersion program where we were offering this multi-day event in Marina del Rey at the Ritz-Carlton. And we went for lunch break. And so Bob and I went off to the restaurant, just have a quiet lunch, the two of us. And Bob had a goal, this is a number of years ago now, and Bob had a goal to generate $100 million. So we're having lunch, and I said to Bob, and Bob's very vocal about that. That was not something that was, unknown. I'm not sharing a secret that's at a school kind of thing. And so Bob had shared this goal of $100 million. So I said to Bob, we're sitting at lunch, and I said to Bob, or asked Bob, how are you going to do that? And Bob said, I don't know. I don't have to know how. And I remember one time hearing Bob say, if you're asking how, it demonstrates your ignorance. Now, what he means is that you simply don't know. It doesn't mean you're not going to get there. It doesn't mean that you won't experience that goal. It doesn't mean you're not going to learn along the way or invest in yourself. It just means you don't know how at that time. But the greatest message that I have ever heard from Bob Proctor is the following. This is the greatest message I've ever heard from Bob. Bob said the following. He said, you do not have to know how you're going to achieve your goal. Now, I think that's like freedom, right? Freedom, because you don't have to know how. You absolutely have to set the goal. You absolutely have to resonate with the goal. You absolutely have to be connected to that goal and feel as if you're already there every single day. You absolutely have to be taking action. But how exactly you're going to get there, you don't have to know, but you do have to take action. It's important that you realize that. So if you think about your book or what you've written already, Sanjeev says, business is the book. Yeah, absolutely can be the book. So what impact could finishing your book and making it a bestseller have on your business? Sometimes authors will ask me this question. They'll ask the question, what does it cost to become a New York Times bestseller? And I'm going to actually address that question because somebody had asked a similar question a little bit later. And the short answer is, I don't know. I mean, it depends on how much you're going to spend and where you're going to spend it and what you're going to do and what you're willing to do yourself. And I'll expand on that. But what's it going to cost you not to? When I think about how I achieved New York Times bestseller status for myself and how that's on my website and how I get introduced as a New York Times bestseller and how I meet people in the industry who tell me all the time, I want that. It's like a medal, right? That you win, you achieve it, you own it forever. You own it forever. And thinking about Bob and his business and what it means to his business to give away a copy of his book that he wrote almost 40 years ago called You Were Born Rich and how that impacts his business. I think about other people who have written a book And now they're known as an expert because they've written this book. Coaches, Carolyn Onkoba, who's on this program, Split Second Success. Carolyn, type the name of your book in the chat box there. Let's do a little promo here for you so that people can see. I love Carolyn's book. Carolyn is in my annual All Access Pass program. I have the pleasure of working with her in a private mentoring capacity. And I wrote the foreword for her book. And I love this book. And she's already experiencing, she continues to promote the book. I'll see her doing posts on social media. The book became a bestseller, I think, before she even realized it. I sent Carolyn an email one day and I said, congratulations, best-selling author. And she thought I was just being playful, you know, helping her image her book as a bestseller. And she didn't realize she was already a best-selling author. And that's what happens. People get a book. I have her book right here in my office. And I love that book. I tell people to go get that book, Split Second Success. I think it's a brilliant title as well. And just let me just stop on that for a moment. There's a story in chapter 6 in Napoleon Hill's book called Think and Grow Rich. The chapter is called Imagination, where a publisher had released a book to the world and it simply wasn't selling. It wasn't selling at all. So they ripped off the cover. They put a new cover on the book. They changed the name and the book took off. They didn't change any of the content whatsoever. Having a winning title is a big deal, having a winning cover. And I think Carolyn is a great example of that. She has a winning title, Split Second Success. I mean, that's going to get people's attention. It's going to get people's attention, immediate attention. And that's one of the things that you want to do with a book cover, right? And another thing, you know, I have to really commend Carolyn for is Carolyn is in all my programs. Annual All Access Pass means she gets in every program that I launch within a year. And here we are doing this webinar. I'm going to share with you and introduce you to the new Prosperous Author program, but she gets on here to learn. It's the learners, as Bob always quotes, it's the learners that inherit the earth. It is the learners that inherit there. I'm constantly learning. I'm studying. Matter of fact, when I get off this webinar, I'm going to go into the new Lead the Field program, which Bob just promoted, just released recently, and I'm going to be doing study with that. And I've got a study partner, and that's the impact it can make. When you get in the study, you stay in the study, your life and your business will absolutely change. Absolutely change. I love it when Bob says, I'm going to study this stuff and teach this stuff until the day I die. And I believe I will as well. My husband, Denny, he's been retired for 10 years now. He plays hockey, plays golf, he loves sports, he's into sports, he goes fishing, and his wife is a worker and she loves it. I mean, we're both doing stuff that we love, we have our time together, but wow, it impacts your life, your business in so many ways. I want you to just wrap your head around that. All right, so now, like, I get so excited about this. You think back to the 18th century when people were mining for gold, they called that the gold rush days, right? Now it's the gold rush days. Now you got to know how to do it right. You got to keep at it. You got to keep in the study and you can get some results. Now, there were a lot of people who flocked over to California with their little pans, you know, trying to mine for gold. And some people were, you know, just ignorant. They didn't know where to go and what to do. And of course, they lost everything. A lot of people gave up everything to do that. You don't have to give up everything. You know, I was talking to one of my very cherished clients today. We had a call together. And she's a therapist and runs a successful business. And, you know, a really good idea is, you know, keep that business going. You can still do that business, but do this part-time until you get to a point where this income is replacing and exceeding the other income, unless you don't want to give that up, but you can do it smart as well. But now is definitely the time. We are into gold rush days for sure. Now I want to show you the way. So here's what we're going to do next. I'm going to walk you through what I have that's going to guide you, show you my systems for making money. I call it the Prosperous Author. I'll explain what it is, how you can get involved, and how we can work together. And then I'm going to address some questions. As I mentioned, Pashmina, Danielle, Bianca, and Jane all have questions. I'm going to answer their questions. Now, these questions that they're asking, you may not have even asked these questions or thought of these questions, but they're good questions. So I'm going to get to them as soon as I'm introduced the Prosperous Author. So just want to show of hands. You can type in yes, Peg, on the little chat box here. Have you found what we've covered already? We've been together 44 minutes, valuable to you? Did you find it valuable? All right, just a yes. Give me a high five, fist pump, something, thumbs up I see from M1 guest. All right, super. Yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Great, great. Thank you. Always, Bianca says, I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, good. Well, that's good to know. Now you can get everything you need to know in The Prosperous Author by joining me now. So let's explain what this is all about. I love the name. The Prosperous Author really defines what it is. It's a program, a brand new program that I've created. Most of it's online, but we're also going to have a couple days together in an event called The Prosperous Author, 2-day event I'm going to be running twice a year. So you can check out, you can attend either one, either the next one or the one after that. So you can continue this journey with me all the way to your bank. So it's called The Prosperous Author. There's a link right on the page, or if you're not on the page right now, on the webinar display page, you can go to theprosperousauthor.com and you can check it out. And this is for authors who have already written a book, or maybe you've written a couple of them already, but you're looking to really scale your impact and your income. That's really what it's all about. If you're looking to create a big back-end business, sources of income, multiple sources of income, you're looking at some wealth generating ideas, and you really deeply care. Now, if you're somebody who's looking for a get-rich-quick scheme, this is not it. All right, this is not it. If you're somebody who's tried other programs and you moaned and complained about those, it's not for you either, because there's going to be work involved. Like, I know what I'm talking about because I'm doing it in my own business. Now, if you want to get into the prosperous area of being a successful author, money earning, money generating, definitely this is a program for you. Now, you're going to get access immediately to a lot of content online. Plus, and I'm doing something brand new, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. We're going to have open Q&A calls twice a month. You have a question for me, you want me to give you some feedback on something, we're going to get on these calls, and I'm going to stay on the calls. I'm going to answer your calls twice a month. If you can't get on the call, you can email me my question. I will absolutely answer it when we get on the call, and I will record every single call so you have access to it. If you want to write another book, you can have the 21-day author program, which is 21 lessons guiding you to create your next book and how to self-publish it or publish it. We're going to have a place where you can interact and connect together in a private Facebook environment. As a matter of fact, Carolyn will be in this program. You'll be able to network with her in there. So there's a private Facebook group just for this group, The Prosperous Author. Now, I have found, I'm sure Carolyn has found this as well, the relationships that you make by surrounding yourself with like-minded people will elevate you and your career as well. There's so much sharing going on. You know, I come from an industry, like prior to becoming an author, I was in high tech, and it's a highly competitive industry. And I remember getting into the author world and I was thinking, this is going to be highly competitive. There's a lot of books out there, but it's anything but. Authors support authors. Coaches support other coaches. Experts support other experts. And that's one of the blessings of having that. You can also get the 21-day promotion. This is promoting, how to promote your book, how to promote your programs, how to promote your services, 21 lessons already for you, and the 21-day revenue. This is the money earning part of it. The deep dive into how you can create sources or a source, programs, how easy it is. I had a client ask me today, like, do I have to hire professionals and go to a studio to create my programs? Heck no. Like, you can do it from the comfort of your home. Like, I create all my course content on my laptop right here. I have my laptop anyway, plug in my headphones that came with my iPhone, and boom, you know, off you go. So it doesn't require a whole lot of extra money. So the Prosperous Author program includes the live Q&A events. It includes the Facebook group, the Prosperous Author live event that we're doing. There's one coming up. A ticket to that, Publicity Secrets, if you want to get on national radio, TV, any kind of publicity. I also go through that. And then the 21-day author, write your book, 21-day promotion, 21-day revenue. Woohoo! And the event that we're going to be doing, the 2-day live event, I'm going to be presenting. It's all about the money earning part of it, of being an author. And I bring in experts as well. My marketing director, who works with my company, who sets up all my funnels, does all my copy, writes everything. He's also there. He's presenting, and they're available to answer any of your questions. Huge value. The value alone is in that 2-day live event called The Prosperous Author. All right. Now, one of the things that gets in people's way is they think time and money. And I want to deal with both of those things right now. Bob Proctor says that the Born Rich book has done more for his business than any other one thing. Now, I've known him now for 38 years. We're going on 39 years, and he calls me a friend, which I'm very grateful for. We're a business associate, and he talks about my integrity is beyond reproach, and her talent in this area is unmatched. I deeply care about my customers. It has me staying awake at night, and I love contributing. I love helping Bob. I speak at all of his events. But I'm not bragging about myself. Here's what I really want you to know. I do care about you. I really care about you. And if you're looking for guidance, if you're looking for the help, I'm looking to help you. So now's the time. You can invest the time, invest the energy. Yeah, you might be putting in a few extra hours, but absolutely worth it. If you don't do anything, if you do nothing today, 6 months down the road, 6 months has just passed, and you're very likely not any further ahead financially and very likely in a bigger hole, right? When I first became an author and I was spending money like crazy and I was afraid to get into any more debt, I was about $250,000 in the hole before I decided I need help. And I remember a friend of mine, Paul, called me and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm sitting on the floor crying." And he's like, "What are you doing that for?" He says, "You need to get some help, learn how to market." And you know what? That's what I did. I got my butt off the ground and I took action. And as a result, I reaped the benefits. So the Prosperous Author, the live event has 100 spots. That's it. I think we're about half full already. So when it's full, it's full. If you want to get in that program, then absolutely get your rear end over to theprosperousauthor.com, secure your spot now. Get into the program and you're going to be able to start right away. And I'm going to see you at the live event. All right. Now, if you do sign up today, I love rewarding people when they take action. So if you're on here right now and you're signing up, then I'll give you an extra ticket if you want to bring your spouse or you want to bring a friend or if you want to sell it. That event alone is $2,000. So if you want to sell it, you can sell it. So if you sign up for the Prosperous Author today, you will get an extra ticket to the Prosperous Author event. Sanjeev wrote on the chat box, he said, "When you're in a hole, stop digging." Yeah, that was the great words of Winston Churchill. When you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. Isn't that the truth? All right, so if you want lasting change, you're looking to create some money, leave your legacy, you're looking to get exposure, accountability, then actually it's not the book writers, it's the Prosperous Author program. Okay, so we're going back so I can see you and you can see me. So we're going to stop the sharing of the screen here. Stop screen sharing, and there we are. Hi. All right, great. We're back. All right, now I'm going to answer. We've got a few minutes left. I want to answer 4 questions that have been submitted here. Now, even if you didn't answer the questions, stay here with me because these are great questions, and I think you're really going to want to hear the answers to them. So let's go to, I'm just going up my screen here. Going to find the questions. Load earlier messages. Okay, so I'm going to load earlier messages. Oh, we're going way up to the top of the screen here. Okay, so we have Pashmina. Pashmina actually is a client of mine. She made her book a bestseller, took my program. It's called the Cappuccino Chronicles. And she says, "I'm so excited to be here. I'm setting my alarm to be with you on the other side of the world. My question is about getting more people to notice my books on social media, mainly publishing houses, and getting a book deal. How can I promote myself better to reach out to publishers who will be willing to pay for my story? I believe in the title of my book, The Cappuccino Chronicles, and I can't stop writing. Mocha Madness is about to be approved, and I will be holding a copy of it in my hands very soon. I'm so grateful for Judy and her team at Hasmark for their guidance and support. I've learned so much. Endless Espressos is almost done. I'm looking forward to get my name out there in a big way. What is the first step?" Okay, so Pashmina, you want to get your book out there. Okay, listen, I want to lean into this. Okay, I get so excited about this. Everyone that's listening, I want you to understand something. Thinking that getting your book and promoting it on social media is the way to go, it's not, okay? It is not, absolutely. Don't think that. All right, not saying Pashmina thinks that, but I just don't want to mislead anybody who thinks, oh, I'll just go on social media and promote my book. That's not the way to do it. What every author should be focusing on is growing their own database, Now that may involve being on social media sites and posting and connecting and establishing relationships. And that's a really good thing to do. But what you should also be doing is driving people over to your website to sign up, to get into your mailing list. Like I have my morning money classes, and many of you are probably a subscriber. As a matter of fact, it might be how you even heard about this particular event here right now. Morning money class, I do 3 times a week. They're videos helping people to get into the prosperity consciousness so that they can have and experience more abundance in their life. And that continually grows my database. Do you realize that databases degrade by on average 22% a year? 22% a year. So out of 100 new signups, 22 have opted it out, right? So you've got to constantly be growing your email list and establishing relationships, because when you set those relationships, when you solidify those relationships, those people become raving fans. So when you bring out your book and you announce that you're bringing out your book and you're doing some kind of a special offer where you're rewarding people for taking action and buying a copy of your book, those people that are subscribers of yours will more likely or most likely buy a copy of your book, and maybe even multiple copies of your book. So you want to build relationships. Now, why would you even want to get, if your book's already released and you want to get the attention of the publisher, here's what gets the attention of the publisher. 1, make your book a big mega hit bestseller. How do you do that? Promotion, right? Continuous promotion. And you can do it either continuously, or you target a date, a specific date, and you really work the system so that when you launch that book, whether you're launching it again, which you can certainly launch a book that's already been out there again, that you will get the attention of publishers. But how do you get the attention of publishers? Draw their attention to it. So here's what I would suggest. Set a plan to do a gigantic launch in 6 months, where you're planning to sell thousands and thousands of copies. And just before you launch it, reach out to editors, reach out to acquisition editors from publishing houses and literary agents. Let them know what you're doing and why you're doing it, and that your intention is to get a publishing deal. That's what my client Elle Newmark did. That's what I advised her to do. She did that and got herself a publishing deal. You can do that as well. The more book sales you get, the more publishers are going to pay attention to you and what your results are, and whether they're even going to be interested in signing you up as a client. All right, great. Love your enthusiasm. Okay, Danielle says, how can I start to present me as an author on social media when my book is launching in February 2018? People are already aware of it. Perfect. Okay. So again, Danielle, just like I mentioned to Pashmina, set up a database, get an opt-in. If you go to peggymccall.com, first thing you see on the top of the page is an opt-in box. All right. Every author should have that, and something that you think people would really, really, really want to receive. And if you're not getting response from people and you're promoting it, and you're all over social media and letting people to know, go over there and check out your website, then try something else. Like when I started doing the morning money classes, immediately I started getting response and reactions from people telling me how much they love the morning money class, how much they find it so valuable, how they look forward to receiving it, and how they're sharing it with their friends. When you've got that kind of response, then you know you have a winning formula. The fact, Danielle, that your book is coming out in February, awesome. Get at it right now. Really build that following online. Get your presence out there. Be everywhere. And I talk about multiple ways. In the 21-day promotion, I talk about multiple ways to promote yourself. And this can all be in alignment with getting ready to launch a book or launch a program as well. Okay? Thank you for asking, Danielle. Okay, Bianca had a question. I'm going to go to Bianca's question. I'm going to answer 2 more questions. Bianca has a question and Jane had a question. Okay, so Bianca says, hi, Peggy. Wonderful to be here. Thank you for that special time. Here's my question. Would it be possible to give a realistic estimate in terms of cost of the remaining 95% after the book is done, meaning the marketing costs following your plan, so one knows what to aim for in total in terms of budget to make it all a real success? Example, true international bestseller status. First of all, budget's a word I don't know. I don't understand. Bob's the same. It's like when you want something, you will find a way to get the money. So what are the costs? There's no block or little thing carton I can put it in and say, here's what it costs, because it depends. It depends on this. It depends on how much work you do yourself and how much you get other people. But I'll tell you where there's usually cost. There's cost in learning how to do it. That's one expense. There's also cost in web presence. Now, I know how to set up a web page. If I registered a domain name today and I wanted to set up a web presence, I could do it. And I could do it in a matter of hours. And I've done it in a matter of hours. I could use something like GoDaddy that has website builder, and I could set up a presence there. So where are the costs? Domain name, website builder, I don't know how much it costs, $99. I mean, we're not talking about a lot of money here. The more you do yourself, the less you have to pay out. Another place where there may be an expense, depending on whether you're doing it yourself or whether you're hiring somebody, is in what's called the copywriting. Now, I'm not talking about the C with the circle, copyright your work, but writing. It's copywriting is known as the words that sell your stuff. It's things that drew you to be on this webinar, right? An email was sent out. An email was sent out, then you were directed to a page. Like if you go to the Prosperous Author and you look at that page and you really study that page, that's what's called a sales page or a promotional page. So when you're promoting your programs, when you're promoting your books, when you're promoting your free events, all of that should be written in a very specific way. By the way, I teach this stuff in the programs that you'll have access to in the Prosperous Author. The more you learn about copywriting, which is marketing, advertising copy, promotional copy, the better it's going to go for you. So your costs would be minimal relative to what you could produce. So it could be minimal depending on how much you're going to do. Now, if you're going outsourcing, in other words, you're going to find somebody who's going to do the web pages for you, or find someone or hire someone who's going to write copy for you, well, then there's going to be an expense. How much? Well, depends on who you hire. Now, there are a lot of people that are cheap out there, but as they say, you know, cheap things aren't good and good things aren't cheap. Like I heard people, you know, find somebody on Fiverr, .com, and they pay them a little bit of money and then they end up with crap. It's not worth it anyways. You just wasted time and wasted some money. So I would suggest learn how to do copywriting yourself or find someone that can be recommended. I have resources. I recommend people in my programs for copywriting or for those things. But it really depends on who you're using and what you're using. For marketing, like I've done so much myself, like course content I create on my computer. I use Camtasia. That's a software program. I don't know what I paid for that. A few $100 maybe. Not a lot. So there's not a lot. You don't have to spend a lot of money. The more you do yourself, the better it'll go. Okay? Thank you for asking. Okay, one more question. We're going to wrap it up. Jane had a question. Jane says, how important is marketing by trailer? Like a book trailer, is that what you mean? TED Talks and submitting a 2-minute video to YouTube. Should I focus on your course? Absolutely, Jane, focus on my course. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about video. I'm going to talk about all kinds of different promotion. If you don't want to do video, if you are not any good at doing video, don't do video. Video can do more harm than good if the video is not done effectively. So you've got to learn how to do a video effectively. I teach it. Actually, I teach that kind of stuff. How important is video? Video is very important. Video is expanding and growing like crazy. It's one of the fastest growth areas. TED Talk, well, it's almost to a point where anybody who can fog a mirror is doing a TED Talk because I got TEDx Talks and there's a lot of TED Talks out there. But if you do a great TED Talk and people love it and they're spreading the word, it can definitely help your career. Now, there's so many things, multiple things that you're going to want to do to help really get exposure for you and build your brand. And as I said earlier, you'll probably try some things. You might like doing some of those things. You may find an area that you really love. Like when I got the idea to do morning money classes and I started thinking, okay, well, how am I going to create these? What format will I deliver these morning money classes to the world? And I decided video. And I wasn't really fond of doing video. And the reason I wasn't fond of doing video is because you usually have to get your hair looking nice and makeup on and a dress or a suit on. And like I work from my home. I'm sitting here in my office right now in my den. And normally when I'm working, like if I'm not doing video or doing a class or whatever, I'm sitting here in yoga pants and a t-shirt and quite likely don't have any makeup on. And that's one of the things I love about the convenience of running your business from the comfort of your home. And so if you're going to do video, you want to do video well. But I decided to do video. And so, if I'm shooting some morning money classes, sometimes I'll shoot several in a day and I'll just wear different outfits, right? I'll just get changed and do another video. Or if I'm traveling somewhere and I'll get an idea for a morning money class, and I'm usually in a suit or dressed up at a business event, I'll just shoot the video. I'll turn on my computer. I have a Mac. I have a MacBook. As you can see, I got an iMac and a MacBook. And what I'll do is I'll open Photo Booth. And on a Mac, you have Photo Booth. That's free, right? I open Photo Booth, I click over to video, plug in my headset, and push record. And then save it. And you can put it on a YouTube channel. You know how much it costs for a YouTube channel? Nothing. Anybody can have a YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel. So anyways, hopefully that helps answer that fabulous question. All right, great. All right, good, Sanjeev. I love that Anik is your mentor as well. I am too, now that you're in my program. Okay, guys, well, it has been absolutely my pleasure to be here. We went a little bit beyond the hour, but I want to thank you for having the privilege, the honor to serve. But more importantly, I want to encourage you, get on over to the Prosperous Author. If you haven't registered yet, grab your spot. The next event is filling up quick. I want to make sure that you've got your seat there and that you're at the event and that I'm there to serve you, to help you create multiple sources of income or a source of income, help you grow your business and do stuff that you really love, that's impactful, that's meaningful, that's out there making a difference in the world. Okay? So thank you for being here. I look forward to serving you even further.